right, good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, August 6th, 2024, and we are here for a couple of meetings this evening. Before we begin with our first order of business, I do want to go ahead and recite the civility pledge, which is provided to us by the Georgia Municipal Association, and so we join hundreds of cities in recognizing that the way we govern ourselves is often as important as the positions we take, that our collective decisions will be better when differing views have had the opportunity to be fully vetted and considered, and that all people have the right to be treated with respect, courtesy, and openness. We want to note that we value all input and we commit to conduct ourselves at all times with civility and courtesy to each other. Before we get into kind of the meat of our time, call the meeting to order, we do have a very exciting recognition, so I'm going to move down to the clerk's seat. All right, we, as we often do, have some awards that members of our leisure services staff and associated units have received. And so I'd like to take a minute to bring up Kent Kilpatrick, our leisure services director, leisure services park planning coordinator, Todd Miller, and Derek Doster with the SPLOST office. So if those folks could join me up here. Good to see you. Thanks for coming down tonight. Didn't have any place else to be, did you?
Thanks, sir.
Derek, a public meeting, what a shock.
Exactly.
So tonight we recognize this fine group and all their colleagues' outstanding effort in public engagement and design involving the Firefly Bridge over the Trail Creek, which was the redesign often referred to as the Murmur Trestle after REM's first album, 41 years old. Staff worked very hard to involve the community in the design for the bridge, so no one would feel like it was the end of the world as we know it. We wanted shiny, happy people, and so when the final design was presented, there were many of those in this community and around the world. Ultimately, creating a bridge that's now been recognized with 5 awards for both its design and the community engagement that brought us there. First, as part of the 2023 Georgia Transportation Summit, which included the Georgia Department of Transportation, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and more than 1,400 transportation leaders, the Georgia Partnership for Transportation Quality for Pre-Construction Design recognized the Firefly Bridge over Trail Creek by being named finalist in 3 of its 10 categories. Our Athens-Clarke County Leisure Services and SPLOST team with design team Kimley Horn were awarded Best Project in the Context-Sensitive Planning and Design, including the Public Participation Plan category. This award recognizes the important role the planning process plays in determining the overall solution. In other words, we won an award for amazing community engagement to create a new design for this iconic bridge. The only way this could be better is by recognizing that the Firefly Bridge was awarded a second prize, the Grand Prize Award, presented to the project Best Out of All in the 10 award categories. And then in February, during the American Council of Engineering Companies of Georgia, the bridge was honored with the first place Engineering Excellence State Award for Structural Systems. And then even more recently, during the American Council of Engineering Companies annual gala, ACEC designated the Firefly Bridge over Trail Creek as a National Recognition Award winner. Finally, on May 18th, Historic Athens recognized Firefly Bridge with its Innovative Solutions in Rehabilitation Award for 2024 during their 55th Annual Preservation Awards ceremony. This award recognizes projects that exhibit sensitivity and create solutions to older or historic buildings without compromising integrity or character. So could everybody just give a round of applause to our leisure services and SPLOST staff. 3 state awards, 1 local award, and 1 national award, equaling 5 awards. So look, and they sent some heavy swag along. Celebrate. You get some exercise.
You get an award.
You get an award. I know, it's like Oprah up here.
Like.
All right. All right. Thanks, y'all. Good job. All right.
Okay.
All right, and before we get into the heart of the meeting, County Attorney Judd Drake has an introduction as well.
Yes, I just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce the mayor and commission, everyone here, staff and guests, to our new legal assistant, Sharon Tucker. Sharon has a 25-year history with the unified government, working in the solicitor's office. I know they're sad to see her go, but we're very excited to have her come in and take Robin Gailey's place, who recently retired. So I just wanted everyone, a lot of the commissioners have met her, some of the commissioners, not a lot, a few of them in the last week who've come in. I want everybody to have a chance to meet Sharon, and she's going to stay with us a while just to get a feel for how the meetings go. Yeah. So glad to have Sharon with us tonight. All right. Yeah.
All right, so our first business item tonight is technically a separate meeting. One of the phenomenon in local government is sometimes the full local government legislative body serves in a different role. And one of those roles is the Solid Waste Management Authority of Athens-Clarke County. And so I'm going to call this meeting of that authority to order. And note that the purpose of this meeting is to consider a construction loan for landfill cells 2A and 2B at the Athens-Clarke County landfill. Attorney Drake, do we need a roll call of the body for the purpose of this meeting?
That would be good, Mr. Mayor. You know, it's the mayor and commission and finance director.
All right, so Shamika, can we get a roll call?
Davenport.
Here.
Link.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Wright.
Present.
Fisher.
Here.
Poole.
Here.
Culpepper.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Thornton.
Here.
Hamby. Boyd. Mayor Gertz.
I am here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you, I appreciate that. All right, with several years having transpired between the last meeting and this one of this authority, we do need the election of the chair, vice chair, and secretary/treasurer. Would somebody like to put a nomination for those slots on the floor?
I'd like to nominate for Chairman Patrick Davenport, Commissioner Davenport.
A second.
All right, there is a motion on the floor for Commissioner Davenport as chair. The motion is from Commissioner Wright. The second is from Commissioner Thornton. All right, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, next order of business is election of the vice chair. Would somebody like to place a nomination on the floor?
I nominate Mike Hamby.
Who they do as chair?
Second.
All right, we've already named Commissioner Davenport as chair. There's a nomination for Commissioner Hamby as vice chair, nomination from Commissioner Thornton, second from Commissioner Fisher. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, hearing just one, the majority wins. Finally, we need a nomination for secretary treasurer. Would somebody place a nomination on the floor?
I would like to nominate Commissioner Tiffany Taylor.
All right, thank you. All right, nomination for Commissioner Taylor from Commissioner Wright. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, we've got a second from Commissioner Thornton. All right, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, so officers are now installed as Chair Commissioner Davenport, Vice Chair Commissioner Hamby, and Secretary Treasurer Commissioner Taylor. We do have minutes to approve from this body from May 21st, 2019. Do I hear a motion for approval of such minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Thornton and a second from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries, and those minutes are approved. We do have public input on this item. Public input follows effectively the same format as the bulk of public input for this evening, and that's a 3-minute opportunity for input on this item. There is a light in front of Shamika's desk, and it will turn green when you begin speaking, yellow when you have 30 seconds remaining, and red when your 3 minutes has expired. And I will thank you for your time here tonight. Is there anyone who would like to speak to any item on this special Solid Waste Management Authority agenda? And there will be further opportunity for public input on the other matters in a few minutes. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, moving to the substance, we have to consider a bond resolution approving and authorizing the execution, delivery, and performance of an intergovernmental contract with the Unified Government of Athens-Clarke County for the purpose of authorizing the issuance of a Solid Waste Management Authority Revenue Bond, Series 2024, in the principal amount of $5.7 million, providing for a pledge of revenues for the payment of such bond, and making other provisions in connection with the foregoing. Do I hear a motion regarding this item?
So moved.
Second.
All right. I have a motion from Commissioner Davenport, and a second from Commissioner Taylor. Any remarks, Commissioner Davenport?
Well, can I speak on the?
Absolutely.
So, just for the public, we're not expanding the landfill. This is, we are entering in a new phase of the landfill that has already been purchased, and we need to put liner down. And even though the solid waste department in Athens-Clarke County is an enterprise fund, which means like you pay as you use, this bond will help expedite the lining and the fill. I don't know how that works, but to fill the ground so we can start putting more waste there. But for the future, if we do more recycling, we won't have to continue to do these. So please recycle.
Commissioner Taylor, any follow-up?
No.
Further questions or remarks from the body? All right. Any further action that you need to note, Attorney Drake?
Just that I put it each commissioner's place, and yours, Mayor, and the clerk, the final, a copy of the bond resolution, just so everybody'd have it.
A little light reading.
It's a little light reading, yeah, but you've already had it. I just want to make sure you had the final version.
All right. So I have a motion from Commissioner Davenport and a second from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Hearing none, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Just a matter of process moving forward. So to the officers that were named, Chairman Davenport, Vice Chairman Hamby, and Secretary Treasurer Taylor, Vice Chairman Hamby gets off a little easy, but I will need on Thursday to schedule some time. On Thursday morning we best with to get you to sign some documents in your capacity as chairman, Mr. Commissioner Davenport, and your capacity as Secretary Treasurer related to the bond issuance, the bond validation proceeding. So I'll be y'all be trying to make yourself available to do that. Be important.
All right. Thanks, Attorney Drake. All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the authority meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right. We've got a motion from Commissioner Taylor, second from Commissioner Fisher to adjourn. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. All right. I'll go ahead and have Clerk Armstrong call roll for this business meeting of the Athens-Clarke County Mayor and Commission.
Davenport,
Here.
Link,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Wright,
Present.
Fisher,
Here.
Poole,
Here.
Culpepper,
Here.
Myers,
Here.
Thornton,
Here.
Hamby. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. I appreciate it. All right, first order of business is to approve the minutes of meetings of Wednesday, June 5th, Friday, June 14th, Tuesday, July 16th, and non-voting meetings of Tuesday, April 9th, Tuesday, April 16th, and Tuesday, July 16th. Do I hear a motion for approval of those minutes?
Mayor, I need to make a.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion to reconsider agenda item 34 from June 5th, 2024, regular meeting agenda related to the ARPA Workforce Development Strategic Plan.
All right, motion for reconsideration of that item. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I've got a motion for reconsideration from Commissioner Fisher and a second from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? All right. I'll go ahead and move now to, or ask for a motion for approval of those minutes, recognizing that there will be a reconsideration of that single item. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes, accepting the reconsideration?
Move to approve the minutes from June and April listed.
Second.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Houle, and I've got a second from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, there will be several opportunities for public input tonight. There is going to be an opportunity for public input on the consent agenda, which on our agenda is items 1 through 15. There will be individual opportunities for public input on the planning and zoning items. Those are items 16 through 20. And then there will be an opportunity for input on old and new business. So those are items 21 through 29. And finally, at the conclusion of the night, there will be an opportunity for public input on any matter of interest not on our agenda tonight, with an exception involving planning and zoning that I will discuss when that comes up. It is, again, the 3-minute opportunity, as discussed earlier. You'll see the light in front of Clerk Armstrong. It will turn green when you begin speaking, yellow when you have 30 seconds remaining, and red when your 3 minutes has expired. So right now is the opportunity for public input simply on the consent agenda. So that's items 1 through 15. Would any member of the public like to speak to any one of those items 1 through 15? They come to the podium. And just state your name, place of residence, and the item to which you're speaking.
My name is Chris Hulse. I live off Timothy Road in Athens. I am the coordinator of the Athens Youth Development Initiative. I'm here tonight with my daughter Aria, who's wearing a Timothy Road soccer jersey. Thing is, she's in 2nd grade and is not yet old enough for her school's team, but her school community matters to her. She loves telling me about classmates and teachers and who sat where at lunch and who played what at recess. She also loves telling me how the Roadrunner basketball and soccer teams have done because she and her friends are excited. She's the one who wanted the jersey because she is proud to be a Roadrunner. I care about our community. I have since before my daughter was born, but she is my literal skin in the game. The Athens Youth Development Initiative is a community partnership whose primary objective is to create opportunities for Athens-Clarke County children while removing barriers, especially the cost barriers for our families. In the last year, I've seen our children come together and not only compete, but grow and learn lessons in a safe environment guided by men and women from our community. Lessons that will echo far beyond their time in any competitive arena. Lessons that include, but are not limited to, accountability, humility, determination, selflessness, and what an honor it can be to represent our community. I have seen thousands of parents, grandparents, classmates, teachers, and community members from every walk of life in our home come together and celebrate our youth. I would challenge our community to attend one of these sporting events and watch not just the field, but the community that surrounds it. You will see these same parents, grandparents, classmates, teachers, and other community members cheering for all the children of Athens-Clarke County. There are numerous peer-reviewed journals espousing the long-term benefits of extracurricular activities, so I will refrain from throwing a bunch of citations at you. Instead, I will quote one of the biggest impacts on me personally as an educator, Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers once said, "Play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood." I know the importance of being sure we get to the value for our people's investments, and I'm committed to working with you for the future of our children. I'm more than happy to roll my sleeves up with you and anyone else in our community if our children's future is the stakes. If our community continues to come together to provide a foundation for our children's growth, their potential is limitless. I'll use the remainder of my time to share the perspective of some voices from within our community. From Sammy Eskew, counselor at Fowler Drive Elementary, the effects of our sports programs are felt throughout the school. Students who previously struggled with behavior are authentically connected with staff and demonstrate a greater self-control in the classroom. Younger students set goals to one day be on the basketball team. Families come out to support our teams on game days, even if their own student isn't on the team. The kids love it, and they're hungry for more opportunities to improve and grow. From Dr. Stacy Carson, principal at Howard B. Stroud Elementary, elementary sports have provided a wonderful opportunity for all of my students at HB Stroud. At any given time on the basketball court, cheerleading squad, or soccer field, we have scholar athletes who represent all of the amazing students in our building, including English language learners, gifted students, and students with both intellectual and physical disabilities. This initiative has allowed for us to provide another avenue for inclusivity to give all of our children the space to learn, grow, and thrive. There is nothing that compares to this opportunity for our students. And finally, from Michelle Brinson, a parent at one of our schools, you may not see it, but you have built more community inside my neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods with the kids and the parents. Soccer and cheerleading have opened up so many social engagements for my children. Thank you for getting them off of the Xbox and away from the TV more often. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hulse. Is there anyone else here to speak to any of the consent agenda items on tonight's agenda? And again, those are items 1 through 15. All right. Is there any commissioner who would like to remove any item from consent tonight? All right. Do we have some ordinances in this consent package? Attorney Craig?
Agenda items 2, 3, and 4 have ordinances, which I will read now. Agenda item 2, an ordinance to amend the special purpose local option sales tax 2011 program budget so as to provide additional funding for project number 32, Costa building renovation, and for other purposes. Agenda item number 3, an ordinance to amend the FY 2025 operating and capital budget for Athens-Clarke County, Georgia, so as to provide grant funding if awarded from the Bureau of Justice Assistance for expenses related to the comprehensive opioid, stimulant, and substance abuse site-based program, grant program, and for other purposes. And agenda item 4, an ordinance to amend the Code of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia with respect to smoking and for other purposes.
Thank you, Attorney Drake. Consent agenda items are handled with a single vote. Do I hear a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Taylor, and I have a second from Commissioner Myers. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, we're going to move forward to public hearing and deliberations on recommendations from the Athens-Clarke County Planning Commission. First of these is item 16 regarding 1215 Cleveland Road. Is there anyone who would like to speak to 1215 Cleveland Road? Good evening.
Good evening, Mark Campbell, Carter Engineering, 1010 Commerce Drive. I'm here on behalf of Cleveland Road Baptist Church. This is an expansion of the existing facilities. As you are well aware, this is a growing portion of the community, and look forward to serving the community with this relatively small expansion. It is to the rear of the existing church. It is small, but is it important for the church as part of the special use permit. We are thankful for staff for helping to guide us through that, and I'm just here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Is there anyone else here to speak to item number 16 regarding 1215 Cleveland Road? All right, we'll come to commissioners for discussion. Commissioner Houle, this is in District 6. Would you like to place a motion on the floor?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the special use with the condition listed in our agenda item.
Is there a second? Second. All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Houle, second from Commissioner Fisher. Any remarks, Commissioner Houle?
I think this is pretty straightforward based on past conversations, so I'm glad to see it move forward.
Any follow-up? No, sir. All right. Any further remarks from members of the body? All right. We need discussion from the attorney of the special use.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia with respect to special use approval in the AR Agricultural Residential District for one parcel of land located at 1215 Cleveland Road and for other purposes.
Thank you, Attorney Drake. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, now's the time when we move to public input on item 17, and this is regarding 3105 and 3145 Barnett Shoals Road. Is there anyone here to speak to the Barnett Shoals Road submission? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and call on Commissioner Davenport, in whose district this resides. Commissioner Davenport, would you like to place a motion on the floor?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Davenport, a second from Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Davenport, any remarks?
No, just another expansion, and thank staff for all their work.
Thank you. Commissioner Taylor?
I just ditto what Patrick said.
Right.
Commissioner Davenport said. Sorry.
Thank you. Input from any other members of the body? All right, we'll hear the ordinance on this.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia with respect to special use approval in the RS-25 Single Family Residential District for two parcels of land located at 3105 and 3145 Barnett Shoals Road and for other purposes.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, moving on to item 18, and this ultimately will require two votes regarding both the future land use change and the rezoning. But I would like to ask for any public input on this project that's 5100 and 0 Atlanta Highway and 2495 Cleveland Road. Is there anyone who would like to provide us with some input tonight? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Bates. I'm with SPG Planners and Engineers. I live at 180 Homestead Drive. Just want to run through things I mentioned at the agenda setting, but when we originally submitted this preliminary PD, we had around 220 townhomes, and 150 multifamily units, and 11,000 square feet of commercial. We held a neighborhood meeting with Commissioner Houle, and the biggest concerns were traffic and the multifamily component. So in response, with our master PD submission, we removed the multifamily, and we are now proposing around 227 units, mainly townhomes, and then 11,000 square feet of commercial. Now, by right, the existing RS8 plus CG zoning would, in my estimation, allow us to build 290 units. That's 150 multifamily and about 140 single-family detached. So we're around 60 units less than what is allowed by right. Now, the other concern about traffic, as part of this PD, we did perform a traffic study. And the main concerns were the southbound traffic on Old Cleveland Road and Cleveland Road, and those stop signs, those are stop sign intersections, and during peak PM and AM time, they're delayed turns. Our traffic study analyzed and said those delays on Old Cleveland Road and Cleveland Road are about 20 to 25 seconds for left turns in the morning, and then about 30 to 35 in the evening. But further, our traffic study showed that our development wasn't really impacting, those existing intersections. I do see benefits that our development does propose concerning traffic, and one of them is we'll have more. Our development is going to mainly use the Dozer Drive's traffic signal, and so with more cars frequenting the signal is going to be triggered more often, and therefore slowing down traffic on Atlanta Highway that goes over 50 miles an hour currently now. So you're going to have traffic slowing down a bit, as well as for folks getting southbound on Cleveland Road, they can now circulate through our development, which is all public roads, and get to the Dozer Drive traffic signal to make a left-hand turn, so they've got a safe and comfortable left-hand turn now instead of having to brave the stop sign. And so I believe that's what Athens is about, a safer and more comfortable drive, not necessarily faster. We did have challenges getting sewer easements, and we are still working on that. There are multiple options in our plans. One option was the gravity sewer, which we 100% want. We are not interested in building a lift station when a sewer manhole is 700 feet away from our development. And so we've been working on that. We have agreement from 2 property owners for the gravity. The complexity of that is the Winslow Park property is owned by Walton, a Chinese real estate holding company, and they are under contract with D.R. Horton for that parcel. And D.R. Horton initially was hesitant to give us, grant us that easement, but now they are reconsidering. They're looking at detailed plans we've given them, and I feel like we're on the right path to get that gravity sewer. Again, we're not interested in building a lift station to carry affluent mile just to get back to the same manhole that's right next to us. And so finally, there are mixed uses here. One is the townhome on a fee simple lot, and that is kind of a rare housing type in Athens. RS zoning does allow townhomes, but lots of restrictions with townhomes in RS zoning makes it very rare, and that's one of the main reasons for this PD. This is workforce housing, and townhomes are good starter homes. Perhaps housing for folks who are starting their career at Caterpillar across the street. We've worked hard to create lots of common open space throughout, conserve the edges, respecting the existing neighbors, and create streetscapes that are inviting and safe to encourage people to walk and bike and play. We believe this design sets the stage for an attractive neighborhood day one, but also a neighborhood that will go up in value over time, providing a nice place to live and raise a family. We accept the conditions that the Planning Commission had provided, and I'm available if you have questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. And Mr. Bates, I recognized with Ms. Armstrong that you had signed up for the 10 minutes, and I apologize for not going over that for the public. So yeah, for each planning and zoning item, a proponent and an opponent may sign up for up to 10 minutes of time. And so Mr. Bates was one of those. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this project on Cleveland Road and Atlanta Highway? All right, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Houle, in whose district this resides.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll begin by making a motion to approve the future land use change.
All right, there's a motion for approval of the future land use change. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll take Commissioner Link. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Hool.
I think this is the more straightforward part of the proposal, so I'll probably reserve my remarks for the zoning item after, but unless anybody has questions.
Any substance on this, Commissioner Link?
I'm good.
All right. Anything else on the future land use? I'll go ahead and have Attorney Drake read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Athens, Clarke County, Georgia, with respect to amending the future development map of Athens-Clarke County by changing the designation of 3 parcels of land totaling approximately 43.75 acres located at 5100 Atlanta Highway, 0 Atlanta Highway, and 2499 Cleveland Road from employment center, general business, and traditional neighborhood to general business and traditional neighborhood and for other purposes.
All right, thanks, Attorney Drake. All right, there's a motion, a second on the floor to amend the future land use map. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. We move on to the second component of item 18, which is the rezoning. So I'll turn again to you, Commissioner Hool.
Thank you. Again, I'll make a motion to approve the rezone with the 9 conditions as outlined in the commission-defined option.
I'll second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Hool and a second from Commissioner Link to approve the rezoning as outlined in the commission-defined option. And Commissioner Hool, I'll turn to you for comments.
Sure. Just briefly, 6 of those conditions were brought to us from the Planning Commission and planning staff, and those were gone through in the agenda setting. Some things that were raised up in the agenda setting that are also included in the subsequent 3 conditions. One is the sewer line that they're planning to build. That they will build it to the western edge of the property somewhere. Most likely that'll be along one of the roadways that they're building. But that way, access is ensured to that sewer line to folks who live on the west side of the parcel, either presently or in the future, which I think is kind of a game changer for folks who are currently on aging septics out there. And just a good future, land use planning move for us as a community to think about gravity sewer making its way through to the next folks along public rights of way, so we don't have the kind of situation in the future that maybe these folks are dealing with now and trying to even be able to get sewer, which is much better than septic. The second is aligned with what we've heard from the applicant over and over, that they want to do gravity sewer, and that's their intention. It leaves open the door for them to come back and ask for a pump station specifically if they need to go that route, but this would approve the gravity sewer as what they're able to do without having to come back between now and building. And then the third condition just restricts a few of the commercial uses on the commercial part. Ugh, man, I got word salad mouth tonight. You get a month off and you just forget how to talk. The commercial portions of the property. So those are specifically like storage units and a gas station and also a liquor store or a smoke shop. Those are things that residents had concerns about, and I share concerns about some of those as well, especially the gas station. A few things that were discussed that aren't in here in the CDO. A lot was discussed around traffic. You've heard about that if you watched the Planning Commission meeting. You've heard about that from the developer. We hear about that all the time. This intersection that they're building should actually improve traffic in the area. And in follow-up conversations, both with the applicant and with our Transportation Public Works Department, I was able to confirm that the way this is built should be able to handle the traffic we anticipate rerouting from Cleveland Road through the neighborhood to get to the light instead of turning left without a light like they currently do. There is the lingering issue for Old Cleveland Road, which is a dead end and doesn't benefit from any of this, and I'm hoping to hear something from our Transportation Public Works staff between now and the end of my term about how we can maybe improve their situation. Got some good ideas from our planning director, but that is, not directly affected so much as indirectly affected by this development and others along Atlanta Highway. So the last thing is, I'll just note, I appreciate that the developer removed the multifamily component from this as like a compromise with the adjacent neighbors who already live there. I personally had wished that it stayed because they were going to use our inclusionary zoning ordinance and give us some affordable units mixed in with their market rate units, and I think that's the exact kind of housing that we need, not only affordable housing, but affordable housing that's built in a way that's the same quality and mixed in with market rates. So I do regret that that was removed from this, if I'm being honest, but I also appreciate that I think has gotten us to where we are, where we don't have a line of people at the podium opposing it. So we need more housing. I think this is a good step in the right direction that should fit well in the area.
Thanks, Commissioner Hool. Commissioner Link, any follow-up?
Yeah, I just want to thank Commissioner Hool and the developer, you know, and for coming up with this resolution. And yeah, it's good to know we've been able to come to a place where there isn't a whole lot of opposition from the community.
Any further input on the rezoning component of this agenda item? All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor. We need an ordinance read. I apologize, Attorney Drake. Go right ahead.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Athens, Clarke County, Georgia with respect to rezoning parcels of land totaling approximately 43.75 acres located at 5100 Atlanta Highway, 0 Atlanta Highway, and 2499 Cleveland Road from CG Commercial General and RS-8 Single Family Residential to CG RS-5 PD Commercial General and Single Family Residential Plan Development and for other purposes.
Thanks, Attorney Drake. All right, there's a motion from Commissioner Hool and a second from Commissioner Link. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, next item is item 19 regarding McClung Road and several associated addresses. There is a sign up for extended period of time on this from Scott Haynes of 330 Oneida Street. So call on Mr. Haynes to begin public discussion of the McClung Road project. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Scott Haynes. I work for W&A Engineering, which is located at 355 Oneida Street. We're bringing this to you tonight as a request for a straight rezone to RM2 for a number of reasons. First is really land use. We know there's a major commercial node in this area with the Kroger and associated shopping center there, and it just makes good land use sense to be able to provide more dense housing options within a walkable reach of that center. Also, the encumbrance of the site, the challenging site, has a gas main that runs through it, sewer interceptor, multiple environmental areas along the creek, including some extended floodplain. So the site really lays out only one way, as shown to you in the concept plan that we provided. So we're really bound by the land and how we can develop the site. Sewer capacity is also a big consideration here for this project. We know we need bedrooms in this community, and the best place to put those is where we have sewer capacity at the moment. So we feel that this is appropriate in this location, given that. And I think really the biggest thing that why we're bringing this as a straight instead of a planned development is we are not asking for any exceptions from the development code. We would fit fine within our current ordinance, and so we don't need any type of exception as part of this. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on this, this item, and I'd just like to thank staff for helping us craft this application and bring it before you.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes. Is there anyone else here who is interested in speaking to item 19, McClung Road? All right, seeing none, this is in District 9, so I'll turn to Commissioner Thornton for a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion that we accept this proposal, and I want to make a motion that we accept this proposal. Now I come up with my comment.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Thornton and second from Commissioner Hamby. Go right ahead, Commissioner Thornton.
I really do appreciate the developers and staff for working with me. I tried really hard to get that AMI up in there for affordable housing, but I do think this is a good project. I do think that I need a better understanding from the planning department on how this stuff kind of rolls out. But given the information that I do have, the location of this site, addressing the housing shortage that we do have, I do think that this is going to be good for Athens in the long run. That's my comments.
Thanks, Commissioner Thornton. Any follow-up, Commissioner Hamby?
Sure, just a real brief comment. And I know Commissioner Thornton was working with trying to put some affordability into this. And, you know, with the extra apartment units, it'll probably be that way. But I will say this, you know, as we did during this year's budget and trying to look at the affordable housing plan, I think, you know, moving forward, we should take projects like this and like the ones we just passed and maybe treat them as their own TAD, say a certain percentage of new projects that come before us for a rezone get placed into an affordable housing plan, because the only way Atlanta does this, the way Atlanta is successful with their affordable housing and get so many units on the ground is because they do offer subsidies to the developers and to the builders in order to get it done. And we need to start looking at it from that perspective, and we need the dollars to make it happen. We need to, if we want the affordable housing, it's got to be subsidized in some sort of way, in some sort of fashion. And Commissioner Wright may remember this discussion when we had the Mitchell Bridge Road development. If you remember, we were talking at that point in time about setting up a fund to where that fund, those extra property tax revenues could go into an affordable housing fund. And imagine what we would have done had we followed through on that and created that fund. So anyway, just food for thought, and thought it appropriate to say it about this project and others that come for us.
Thanks, Commissioner. Just for the record, I'll have Attorney Drake read the ordinance now so we have that.
Yeah, there's a future land use map amendment and a rezone on this one as well, Mr. Mayor.
Item 19.
Yep.
I have some comments.
I'm going to get the comments, but I'm just going to have Attorney Drake read the ordinance, so that's on the record.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Athens, Clarke County, Georgia, with respect to amending the future land use map of Athens, Clarke County by changing the designation of approximately 34.73 acres located at 0, 125, 135, and 150 McClung Road, 219 Danielsville Road, 799 U.S. Highway 29 North, and 375 Mission Drive from general business, single-family residential, and rural to mixed-density residential and for other purposes.
Thanks, Attorney Drake. I appreciate it. Commissioner Houle?
I was just trying to say we need 2 votes, the future land use and the. So
I got you.
It doesn't say that on the agenda, Mayor.
Yeah, it's usually called out kind of as 2 separate line items. I do see in the narrative it mentions future land use. So in the interest of absolute coverage, we'll do 2 votes. But Commissioner Link?
Did the Planning Commission take 2 votes is what I'm wondering.
They did.
Yeah.
It's in the agenda.
Yeah, I just asked Bruce too to confirm.
Yeah, I had some conversation with Commissioner Thornton about this, and I had brought these concerns up in the agenda setting about bike and pedestrian facilities along that main drag through this project, and about a shared use path to assure that there were safe off-road bike facilities. Is that part of this? Because I can't really tell from the site plan if that is.
I think we're just defining it as a multi-use path.
So multi-use path is that, I don't see that in the document anywhere. Maybe I'm missing
Given
it.
that this is a straight rezoning rather than a PD, this is just as it is as a bulk, so there's no sort of design component within. Now, certainly, I think land planner is here and staff is here, so as this comes out of the ground, I think you hear there's some interest in multi-use path rather than separated facilities.
So TPW would be working with the developer on the specifics of the right-of-way through the project. Okay.
I need to say this because I know my constituents are listening. I got more complaints about bicycle paths in our district, and everybody's not riding bike. I think a multi-use path gives us the concept, and we need to, if we know that people are not happy by the term of bike paths and all of that, we shouldn't use it because we could do the same thing without upsetting folk and getting where we need to get. But the multi-use path was the language that we discussed last week.
Yeah, I mean, I believe a shared use path, multi-use path is perfectly adequate for this kind of project. I just want to make sure that it is part of the discussion moving forward.
Any further input? All right, first vote is for future land use modification. We've got that on the record. Motion is from Commissioner Thornton, second from Commissioner Hamby. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. As noted, we need another vote for the rezoning, and we'll get that ordinance read right now.
In order to amend the Code of Athens, Clarke County, Georgia, with respect to rezoning 7 parcels of land comprising approximately 34.73 acres located at 0, 125, 135, and 150 McClung Road, 219 Danielsville Road, 799 U.S. Highway 29 North, and 375 Mission Drive from CG Commercial General, RS-25 Single Family Residential, and AR Agricultural Residential to AR Agricultural Residential and RM-2 Mixed Density Residential and for other purposes.
Thank you, Attorney Drake. Is there a motion for the rezoning?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
motion from Commissioner Thornton, second from Commissioner Hamby. Any further remarks?
Nope.
Any from the body? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, we move on to public input on item number 20, and this is 175 International Drive. Would anyone like to provide some input on 175 International Drive? Good evening. Just give us your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Frank Pittman with Pittman Agrarian Engineering. We're at 1050 Barber Creek Drive in Watkinsville. Here representing the developer on this property, and he actually is here as well if there are any questions for him. 175 International Drive, as I explained before, is a little awkward piece of property. It looks like two pieces of property, but it's really one piece and it's split zone. Part of it's RM1, which is developed as an existing apartment complex. The other side is RM2, which is undeveloped. The RM1 side is the old 90s style, three-story apartment buildings, has 612 beds on it, which far exceeds what the existing zoning would allow. Our request is to get rid of the split zoning, change the RM1 side to RM2. There would be no redevelopment on the RM1 side because it's completely developed. But what that would do is allow us to then develop the side that is currently RM2 to add up to 97 more beds on that side. Would allow us to create a through access really from the Barnett Shoals corridor over to International Drive. The plan would be to create one-bedroom units. My client would be held to be required to do one-bedroom units as part of the purchase agreement. The existing complex does not want any competition with 2, 3, and 4-bedroom units. The one-bedroom units have been highly desirable, especially on that side of town with vet students and young professionals. So the market's very strong for those. The staff has recommended approval. There is water and sewer capacity for this. Planning Commission also voted to approve this, and I would ask for you guys to vote tonight. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. Is there anyone else here to speak to 175 International?
I'm Charlie Hill. We live at 4895 Barnett Shoals Road, and I'm being fairly repetitive from a couple weeks ago and of what Frank just said. We live in that neighborhood, so I do have a great degree of pride in what goes there and in using quality construction to build these units. We are restricted to the one-bedrooms by the deed restriction. A good portion of the property will remain undeveloped just because of the topography of some drainage areas. So a large portion of it will remain, all the trees will remain, and all the undeveloped land will remain as well. And as Frank said, that the reserve apartments, even though they would be rezoned, nothing will functionally happen to them for the next, I would say, at least 50 years. Their economic and physical life has a long way to go. So the rezoning will have no impact on that property, even though, and this property is already zoned, that we're discussing tonight. If the one-bedrooms were not built on the property, it would be something for sale. And so it's really either one or the other. So there's not a lot of mystery as far as what will end up there. It will it's one of the two. And the other thing is this property I mentioned before is truly walkable to the Publix Kroger shopping center. It's less than 300 feet from the entrance to the Publix. And it's one of the few places on the east side that really is truly walkable. Well, Carol might disagree. There are a few other places that are walkable, but this truly is, and I think that will actually happen there too. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Would anyone else like to speak to 175 International Drive? All right, seeing none, I will turn to Commissioner Myers for a motion on this item.
Yeah, I want to make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Myers and a second from Commissioner Wright. And I'll have Attorney Drake read the ordinance just so we've got that out of the way.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Athens, Clarke County, Georgia, with respect to rezoning a parcel of land comprising approximately 29.6 acres located at 175 International Drive from RM-1 mixed density residential and RM-2 mixed density residential to RM-2 mixed density residential and for other purposes.
Thanks, Attorney Drake. Commissioner Myers?
Yeah, I'm totally in support of this. This is an area which I think we're going to see in our, we've already seen in our future land use discussions, which is prime for density. We talk a lot about density. This is to allow this in this area and for eventual redevelopment off of International Drive at RM2 makes perfect sense, close to transit, close to bike and scooter and walking, close to Kroger's and Publix and everything else. So it is very walkable. Totally in support of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Wright?
I think this is also, I also agree this is a good project, and it also combines the diversity of dwelling unit sizes. And the university is also developing a new park and ride right at that light. So it's more transit opportunities for folks on the east side to use the mass transit instead of driving all the way through, even though you can with the bike lane too. And sidewalks,
Right.
ready to
Bus, everything.
Commissioner Davenport?
Yes, I support this soon, and I thank staff and the engineers and everyone involved. Do have a question for Lonnie. And it's not a big deal, and I should have mentioned this at the last meeting, but if you go in off of International Drive, drive around a little curve, blah, 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 you enter the first set of homes. On the northern end, there's some parking lots. Is that because of our parking minimums? Or is, I'm just trying to figure out, is that because of we have standards of how many parking spots we must have per unit? Because it's not a big deal, but
Parking lots on the northern end of the current International Drive terminus?
yes, when we get to the first home, if you could send an email, it's not a big deal. I approve of this, but I'm just wondering, because like, it's beautiful over there. There's a lot of trees, and if we can just axe those parking spots, but if those parking spots are there because of our parking minimums. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
It is meeting the parking minimum. The final design of this is, yet to occur. So I think we're in a situation where we can take the comment that you're making, fold it into the discussion with the developer, and do the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
That end of the property has a lot of really rugged topo, so it probably doesn't lend itself to some of these parking areas.
Okay.
But yeah, we can take that into account. Happy to.
Yeah, so developers, like, if the parking's not needed, if they're just one bedroom, just keep the trees and the grass. So.
Any further input from members of the body? All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Myers and a second from Commissioner Wright. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, we are going to move now to old and new business. So these are items 21 through 29, as well as the reconsideration of the item as embodied in Commissioner Fisher's motion earlier. Any member of the public may now speak to items 21 through 29 or the reconsideration. And same opportunity for 3 minutes of public input is yours. So step right up to the podium, please. Let us know your name and the item to which you're speaking.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Marie Davis with the Georgia Center for Employee Ownership. I'd like to thank the mayor and the commission for the opportunity to speak. Over the next 5 years, more than 67,000 companies in Georgia owned by baby boomers will face succession planning challenges. These businesses employ over 685,000 people with payrolls exceeding $25 billion and sales surpassing $148 billion. More than half these owners lack succession plans, putting many businesses and jobs at risk. Why employee ownership? Employee ownership secures jobs and retains businesses in local communities. It helps reduce income inequality and build wealth, particularly in areas like Athens. Employee ownership empowers workers, enhances economic stability, and fosters a more equitable economy. The Georgia Center for Employee Ownership is launching a comprehensive outreach and education initiative to reach rural Georgia businesses. With an ambassador cohort, with strategic marketing, and collaborating with local chambers and educational institutions such as University of Georgia. Direct outreach to business owners, providing coaching and technical assistance for transitions. Success is measured through the partnerships formed, leaders trained, and individuals reached through events. Over the past few years, the Georgia Center for Employee Ownership has made significant strides in building relationships, connecting with key economic development officials, and promoting the benefits of employee ownership. We participated in numerous conferences and publicized the benefits of the model widely, including obtaining proclamations from Governor Kemp to recognize October as Employee Ownership Month. Employee ownership provides numerous benefits, including wealth building, improved wages, and better company performance. As we face that silver tsunami of retiring business owners, it's crucial to promote this model as a means of ensuring economic stability. At the Georgia Center for Employee Ownership, we're dedicated to making employee ownership a key component of Georgia's economic landscape. We invite you to join us in this vital work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak to any item of old or new business? Again, those are items 21 through 29. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Tawana Smith-Maddox, representing Destin Incorporated, 985 Gaines School Road. I want to share my gratitude to Commissioners Myers, Taylor, and Fisher for creating the CDO Commissioner Defined Option that includes funding for Destin's Read to Succeed program. And I'm grateful for the rest of you in anticipation of your vote tonight. Commissioner Davenport, the students really appreciated you showing up again this summer, and I do as well. Our children had an awesome summer. 96% of our students maintained or improved their reading skills. They did not slide. 68% of the students have been with us for the past 3 years, and 100% of the students stated that they want to return next year. We hired 4 students from the Career Academy's Career Fair last spring. We had 30 students who wanted to work with us, but we didn't have the money to pay them. 2 of the students earned their TCC with Dr. Elder in the Early Learning Program, and 3 were rehired for a 4th year as youth counselors with our program. And then we had 1 participant who graduated from being a participant and reader to being a youth counselor. And she was outstanding. It was amazing to see that transition. For 26 years, we have served the community, and we are grateful for the funding to expand our program. We are also grateful to be a part of Clarke County's Cultivating Nonprofit program, which is providing us with the training and technical assistance for operating our programs. Alexandra, Christian, and Yashi are doing a remarkable job. As a grassroots organization, being a part of this program, coupled with this funding, it brings Destin's full circle. We will be better poised to receive not only local funding, but other funding streams and magnify our programs to support our students. We are thrilled to be considered for this funding under the Workforce Development K-3 initiative and working with Mr. David Bradley and his crew. We have expanded our program to a layered reading mentoring format. September through December, we are training older students on our current reading tutoring curriculum, developed and facilitated by Dr. Renetta Elder, Dr. Joe Smith, and their team. I am charged with infusing life skills and employability skills. In January, these students will be hired and paid as reading buddies. This is going to be a game changer. We are very excited about this. Our reading tutoring will take place September the 9th through April the 24th, Mondays and Thursdays. And then in January, a West Side location will be launched and both locations will include paid reading buddies. We have to give these young people opportunities, job skills, and the access to be able to be prepared. I'm nervous when I hear about all these houses coming up and there is no affordable housing. So it means that we have to train these students with the skills necessary to get that big job at Caterpillar so
Thank you,
that
Dr.
they can
Maddox.
remain here.
Thank
So
you very much.
Thank you again.
Is there anyone else here to speak to old or new business this evening? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Will Fletcher, president over at One Breath CNA. Our job is to train aspiring healthcare providers. We do that by offering short-term programs from 4 to 15 weeks, which include certified nursing assistant, phlebotomy technician, certified clinical medical assistant, and we opened our doors in 2016, December 2016, and so far we have placed about 1,000 students into local jobs. St. Mary's is one of our largest employers. We help students get employed at assisted living facilities, nursing homes. Most of our students get job offers before they even finish our program. So we'd like to continue that, and I thank you for allowing me to speak and invite me today.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Would anyone else like to speak to any item of old or new business this evening? Good evening.
Good evening. I'm fine with notes. Okay, so I saw somewhere, it's not exactly on
Just
here.
let us know your name.
Oh, my name is Karina. And I think it's under the Workforce Support Task Force. But I saw somewhere that there was going to be $300K allocated to quality care, and y'all were going to vote on it. I just want to thank y'all in advance for doing that. And also thank you in advance for supporting Destin and Mr. Rick Dunn. So that's all I had until later.
Thank you, Ms. Gallagher. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak to any item of old or new business? Again, those are items 21 through 29. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Alex Sams. I reside at 100 Tipperary Road, Athens, Georgia. Here to speak on number 28, I believe it is, youth sports, youth league sports at Clarke County School District. I'm a realtor here in Athens, and I do that because I like to sell Athens and I like to sell the Clarke County School District. It is my favorite school district. I'm also on the Athens-Clarke County Planning Commission. I'm chair of the Athens-Clarke County Future Land Use Committee, and I'm chair of the CCSD SPLOST Community Oversight Committee. I only say that to explain that I'm more than just a lay coach at Clarke Central High School. I do that with a small stipend, but what I do and why I do this is not to teach girls how to play soccer. That is an outcome of this. But what it does is put me in front of youth so that I can explain to them connecting a sport and a team with real life. Ask any of the parents that know me, and I have coached over 350 players so far, not just at Clarke Central. I also coached at Hillsman Middle School, and I coached formerly at Athens United. So there are a couple of things to explain as well with what we need and what I saw last year with the youth program. Younger kids need easy teams to play on. And again, this is not just learning how to play volleyball, how to play soccer, how to play any of the sports that may be offered at the time. It's to show them how to be on a team, how to be teammates, how to participate, and how to allow another person something that maybe they don't want. There were times at Hillsman when I would work with the chess coach, the chess team that Hillsman Middle School had on rainy days. I reached out to him and said, I don't want to play in the gym with these soccer players. Can we come and work with chess and soccer? Because I know just enough about chess to understand how it works just like soccer works. When you move something here, something else is going to happen. On the soccer field, if a player moves here, another player is going to move here or possibly get beat. So there's more to this than learning how to kick a ball, learning how to throw a ball, and just taking a sport out of this, particularly with the youth. So y'all know what to do with your money, but it's never a bad idea to give it to the youth because they are going to be our future. And the more we can keep them involved and involve parents into the school system, the more they're going to be prepared to take our future and work with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sams. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak to any item of old or new business? Again, that's 21 through 29. Good evening.
Hello. My name's Katrina Evans. I live at 495 Holman Avenue. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about CCSD, ARPA, and a dash of workforce development. So the goal of your pot of money, $7 million, is to change the trajectory of the youth of Athens. And the CCSD Youth Development Initiative before you tonight does that very thing. Last year, 1,800 children found the love of sports without any cost, and that is huge. That doesn't exist in our community. Literacy is tied to the program, and behavior in the classroom was also tied to participation, and kids changed their actions when the principals and the teachers were there to watch them. They learned resiliency, goal setting, discipline, and were active, thus healthier. There's an overlap with CCSD funds, but that's natural. That's the way the cookie crumbles with youth development, and it meets the goals established with your ARPA buckets. If you would like to fund arts, perfect. Remove the costs of the Linden House and Dance Center programs, or expand your funding. Fund Destin, fund Chess in the Community. From a broader ARPA funding perspective, there's still $3 million in the pot. Rather than spend it on paving, I'd suggest you double down on your partnership with CCSD, and this is going to dovetail into workforce development. And it's an audacious plan, but it's achievable, and the thought is gift each high school graduate $1,000. It's audacious, but you could do that, fund the youth program we just talked about, and you'll still have $2 million remaining. So why? It sounds crazy, right? So first, economic development. Higher graduation rates will retain industry or attract industry. Second, a diploma in hand, thanks to some motivation that y'all can provide, is a ticket to a better life. These grads are going to be statistically healthier, they're less likely to be incarcerated, and more importantly, they're going to earn more. And this is an opportunity to disrupt the cycle of poverty. Higher earners, they're going to pay more taxes. They're going to buy cars, and they're going to spend into our community. And they're also going to reduce the drag of county assistance. And honestly, I feel like this could flip the script of affordable housing and instead put the focus on raising the educational levels and the earning potential of our community. So I'm asking you to double down. The fleet replacement will not pay dividends to our community for decades to come. So I'm asking you to please change the trajectory of our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Any other remarks regarding old or new business? Again, items 21 through 29 on our agenda tonight. All right, we will move to commission discussion and a vote regarding each of these items, beginning with item 21, which is T-SPLOST 2023 Project Management and Staff Augmentation Services. And this is a change order. I entertain a motion from the body.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, I've got a motion to approve from Commissioner Hamby, a second from Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Hamby, any remarks?
I do have some remarks, Mayor, and it's maybe also sounds like concerns as well. So in the agenda report, it mentions a staff shortage over at Transportation and Public Works. You know, and I remember I think you, Mayor, and Commissioner Wright were on the selection committee for choosing the T-SPLOST management program staff, and they've been doing a good job for us. But part of that contract was for us to do some of the work ourselves to save some money, and it doesn't seem like that's working out, that we're saving the money. So I guess I'm wondering how, and you may not know off the top of your head, but exactly how short are we over in Transportation and Public Works to where we're not able to do these 7 projects?
The answer I have quickly for you, Commissioner Hamby, is that Transportation Public Works staff are busy doing stormwater improvements, street and drainage improvements, and they don't have enough time to spend on things like projects like the 5 Points project, nor do they really have the bandwidth and expertise to do such. So that's where Jacobs really comes in. That's really helping us out. So, I think TPW staff are really spread thin doing other work, and Jacobs is just kind of filling the gap for us.
Well, I see in the manager's report that we do contract out with other folks to help us with stormwater management stuff, or to look at. I think there was expenditure in there for this month, so I guess we knew that going into this contract that we would have other things going on. So I guess I'm just making a statement at this point that perhaps we weren't prepared as we were led to believe that we were able to handle these projects from that standpoint. Because I noticed also during several previous months, that we do a lot of staff augmentation services with Jacobs. So at any rate, I'm fine with us moving forward. Jacobs has done a good job for us downtown and other areas. So I look forward to getting these projects done quicker because of this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Hamby. Any follow-up, Commissioner Wright?
I'm ready to vote.
Any other remarks from the body? This is a contract change order, but not an ordinance. Is that correct, Attorney Drake?
Correct.
All right. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Hearing none, motion carries. We're going to move on to item 22. This is the East Downtown TAD Advisory Committee Community Identified Priority List, and this is simply accepting the report they generated. Is there a motion on the floor?
I would like to make a motion to approve with the amendment of working with only Athens construction companies. I would like to remove Athens out, to not box us in. And I know we want to be inclusive, so FYI, I know this. But I don't want things to be tied up because we are only using Athens construction.
Is that what, does it say that? We're only going to use Athens construction companies?
In the attachment, number 1, it says partner with Athens nonprofits such as, and not limited to Athens Land Trust, EADC, and Habitat for Humanity.
Procedurally, Attorney Drake.
So this is
taking out the word Athens.
Yeah, this is a recommendation number 1. Right. So it's not, but I do think I would suggest taking out the word Athens because I do want to do some research. There's some legalities related to your ability to. I just recommend. I think it's a good idea to take Athens out.
Take Athens out. So should we table it? Do we table it?
Or if you want to table it, I mean, it's just my understanding of recommendation, so it's not like it's binding on you, but I do see your concern. I think it's a valid concern, Commissioner.
So the motion would just be to strike Athens.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Which part?
And allow it to be more broadly in the housing component.
So it still lists the examples as including but not limited to. It just
include but not
removes the
limited to is
implication that
fine,
it's
yeah. Because include but not
Athens only.
limited to is really broad. Yeah, yeah. It's not saying we're going to use any of them.
And for anyone reading along, I guess this is attachment number 1, and then number 1B2.
And C1. Or CI.
So there's a motion on the floor to accept this, simply striking Athens to make the language more inclusive.
For nonprofits.
Yeah.
For nonprofits, correct.
Under 1,
And it is
CI.
Yeah.
It's under
And
B2 and CI.
So strike the word Athens in all the housing-related elements. All right, there's a motion from Commissioner Taylor. Is there a second?
Second.
I've got a motion from Commissioner Taylor, second from Commissioner Thornton. Any other remarks, Commissioner Taylor?
No, I just don't want there to be any reason why we couldn't work with other partners that's not necessarily in Athens, but take into account our inclusionary policy that we want to be more inclusive, but we don't want to stagnate work for affordable housing. I sound professional, don't I? You did. I know.
Any follow-up, Commissioner Thornton?
No, I totally agree.
All All right, remarks from any other member of the body? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, moving on to item 23, this is the Legislative Review Committee report regarding the Voluntary Residential Traffic Management Program policy. And as we discussed at the agenda-setting meeting for members of the public, this is not a deviation from continuing to allow the residential traffic management policy to flow, but should there be a very well-heeled member of your neighborhood that would like to pay for a device now, this would simply allow that with all of the standards and engagement required with transportation and public works. So do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion from Commissioner Myers and a second from Commissioner Davenport. Commissioner Myers, any remarks?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that the residential traffic management program, our main program, was approved back in January. It's now available online to look at that. That is a data-driven program that is taxpayer, general fund, SPLOST, whatever funded. It is not, neighbors don't have to pay for that. I don't expect this policy that we're approving tonight to be used often. But when it is used, it isn't anticipated to create a work burden for staff, and it inevitably reduces the number of roads needed to go into that other program. So it's kind of a win-win there for us.
Commissioner Davenport, any follow-up?
Ditto Commissioner Myers. It's just if a neighborhood is really want speed bumps or traffic calming, and they're like, we are number 85 on the list, we want to get it done tomorrow, and they have the resources and funds to get it done, they can go ahead and proceed, and then we'll work with staff in creating a plan and a policy, traffic calming for that street or road or neighborhood, and the work will get done. But it does not interfere with what we all approved back in January. So just completely voluntary.
Any other remarks?
I'll be doing the business, Mayor.
Okay. Any others? All right, Clerk Armstrong, could you do a roll call vote beginning with Commissioner Myers?
All right. Myers?
Yes.
Thornton?
Yes.
Handy?
Yes.
Davenport?
Yes.
Link?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Fisher?
No.
Poole?
Yes.
Culpepper?
Yes.
Got 9 yes, 1 no.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 24. This is the Business Development Workforce Support Task Force work. And I know there's a commission-defined option on the floor, so I'll turn to Commissioner Myers for initiating that discussion.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve that commission-defined option. If I get a second, then I'll go over it.
Second.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Myers and second from Commissioner Fisher. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make sure this is clear to my colleagues and anyone listening out here. This is a commission-defined option that has 3 parts. It does what the original agenda item does, which is basically accept the recommendations from the workforce, business, and employee empowerment task force that Commissioner Taylor and I co-chaired that met from March through June. So that's the one thing it does. But in addition to that, it also presents a funding plan for that. And that is something that I put together with Commissioner Taylor and Commissioner Fisher. That is a first step in getting some of those goals from those task force recommendations funded. And I want to make this clear. It's a little bit different from what we proposed when we talked about this in early July or mid-July. In this is we're just approving the plan tonight. The entities that are listed in this plan, which is page 2 of the commission-defined option, have until August 16th to get a scope of services into the Athens-Clarke County staff. And then we will be seeing those applications or review of those applications and vote on the actual funding in September. So that's the second part. The third part is actually a vote on the Chamber Achieve Athens plan, which was reconsidered before, and that's to approve that plan with the addition of some monies for Destined, for Education Matters program, and also money for an apprenticeship program that can be used with the Career Academy and other business and industry and small businesses. So those are the three parts of the commission-defined option. I think here, I do want to make something clear, and that is that in the best of all possible worlds, at least from my perspective, we would have had this done early enough that we could have had, or the part two of this, we could have had a request for proposal process, a standard government process where we put out, you know, an announcement, we get applications, they're ranked and so forth. But at this time, the time is just too tight. We have to make these allocations and have everything done by December. The manager's office has made it clear that that's not a possibility. So at this point, it was really a question of how tied are we and supportive are we of the goals of the workforce development versus following what would be a standard procedure. And so what we're doing here now in this CDO is trying to be really transparent with the public about how we're proceeding and why we're proceeding. And I think my colleagues will talk, Commissioner Taylor, about our commitment to some of the goals that came out of here. I think it's their goals that have to do with helping our youth get to be ready for the workforce, making it easier with the portal and the counselors, I know we have another name, navigators, to help people apply for jobs and stay for jobs. And then through the task force recommendations that we have in these, that came out of the committee that Commissioner Taylor and I worked on, they're really dealing with existing businesses and keeping them strong and giving them other opportunities as well. So I'll leave it at that. You know, open up your online agendas, and you can read all the details in there. But the important part here is for this plan that we're suggesting that we'll have a second vote on that in September.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Fisher?
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Myers, everything she has said. Attorney Drake, do I need to read the second motion yet? The second motion here.
No, you don't need to do that.
Okay. But I agree with what we're trying to do and trying to accomplish for this particular community. I think workforce development is a key. First of all, we're helping people get out of poverty and really getting people into the workforce. It will involve our youth in this community, also with adults who want to move up in higher paying jobs. I think we're on the right path and we're heading in the right direction. So.
All right. Commissioner Taylor, you worked on this as well. I want to go ahead and give you some time.
First, thank you, Mayor Gertz, for assigning me and Carol as co-chairs of this bucket. We worked really hard on the recommendations and the small groups. We were very intentional with higher paying jobs, entrepreneurship, and small businesses. And so we looked at those three as our main focuses, and we pulled out all of the recommendations that we thought would be substantial for the community in Athens. We have a lot of small businesses that we would like to help build in some sort of capacity. We know that childcare is also an issue with employment, and so we looked at ways that we could help, because that's also entrepreneurship for our community members that operate daycares, and so to be able to build that capacity. We also looked at the fact that a lot of our young men and women in this community don't have a lot to do. We also looked at the fact and respected the fact that there are entrepreneurs who would like to hire young men and women who don't necessarily have the capacity or the payroll to be able to do so. And so we looked at how we could use some of the money for apprenticeship programs. And so I'm really excited to see how all of these things pan out. At the beginning, we voted on the chamber's ask, and I had my reserves because I felt like it could be more inclusive. And so we looked at ways of how we could be more inclusive, and Mr. Bradley was willing to include more of our nonprofits who do great work. And so all of it comes together in one great big bubble of collaboration and community that no one I really could feel like would have a opposition towards it, because it is inclusive and it includes everybody, youth as well. So I said all of that to say I am pleased with the work that we did.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Davenport.
Yeah, ditto Taylor. So I would like to thank all of us, all 10, because behind the scene, we worked really hard to try to build something that will incorporate to workforce development and try to answer some of the questions of the community, and to provide something for the community that will benefit, people looking for jobs and those who are less fortunate. But I do want Dr. Myers to reiterate, because I think it's important, the deadline, the dates. Can you repeat those for the public?
Yes.
One more time.
That is August 16th. And I have shared the contact information that I had with the staff, so hopefully they will be reaching out and alerted the organizations that they might, what vote was going on. So I'm hoping that our manager's office and our staff will help out in making sure there's clear communications on this.
Thank you.
Got Commissioner Houle and Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Mayor. So first I have one more question for probably the folks who authored this. I know that there was kind of a couple versions that came through to us, and there was like a final revision today, I guess, that I think is the only major change in that innovative healthcare was removed because they requested to be removed. Is that right?
That's right, and some people did not notice that there was the Outlook attachment with the communication from Innovative Healthcare in the email we sent out yesterday at about 3:40 in the afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, so I've chewed this one over all weekend. This feels like an omnibus bill, like a lot just got kind of put into the pot as we approach the deadline for us to be able to do anything. I mean, like the point is well taken. We've heard it from staff repeatedly, especially in recent months, that December is the deadline for us to have all the money out the door, but that has to be associated with contracts that staff needs time to draft, and so we really have to have decisions like this made now as sort of the deadline. And we hear. Many people here, myself included, have talked about not letting perfect be the enemy of the good, and I guess broadly speaking, that's why I plan to support this today. But I do want to underscore that while what we're doing matters, and I believe in what's laid out here. I am familiar with most of the organizations listed here, at least. I trust the reputation and the things I've read about the other ones to be sufficient. I also trust the work of staff to go through those scopes of services that were received by August 16th. But there's a lot of stuff in here that's really good that we haven't done. Cooperative businesses and work to build healthcare workforce. Things that I think are really important and sorely lacking here. But how we get here matters too. And I really hope that this body will reflect on, in the future, taking seriously the timeline staff needs things to be done for us to do things what I would call the right way, or the more perfect way, so that we're not in the position we've been in here of doing something or nothing and kind of skipping over what would be, I think, a better process. So I do hope that urging will carry some amount of weight moving forward, but given where we are and given the importance of the work that's outlined here, I do plan to support this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Thornton.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be recusing myself because I serve on one of the boards that is asking for funding, so I will be recusing myself. Commissioner Myers and Commissioner Houle kind of opened the door, because all I was supposed to say, I'm recusing myself. That was the plan. But we knew about this money a bunch of years ago. Every time we tried to talk about it early, we had to look at Treasury guidelines. That's the message we got. Treasury guidelines. It kicked the ball down the alley for a long time. I want to commend the chamber and the other workforce group for even being able to pull something together. But it surely could have been a lot better if we had been a little bit more proactive. The money was in the bank, y'all. So I'm not going to, and I'm getting ugly text messages and emails and questions from folk in the community. It's not this commission's fault. We were given information and we followed those directions, and here we are. I wish I could support a vote, but I can't, so I'm recusing myself. But we have to be more proactive, intentional in the front end. And I feel awful for Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Fisher, and Commissioner Culpepper, because you stepped into this. This was handed to you. But we could have been down the road a long time ago. Why we drug, I'm not going to take responsibility for it because I brought it up too many times and several other people did too. So here's where we land at. But I do think coming together now, I'm hoping that this will be a good thing for everybody in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hamby?
Yeah, sure. I just, in reading this, I just, if Commissioner Myers highlights that this is a one-time funding program for these calendar years this year that we're in, and of course this needs to be all spent by 2026. And I guess I just want to make sure that we manage expectations of the folks that are receiving this, and that they know that that there is a schedule that they have to demonstrate that these monies will be spent by a certain amount of time or it comes back to us, and also that, this is one-time funding from ARPA funds. So I just want to reiterate that and make sure as the applications come in that that's reiterated as well.
Commissioner Hamby, I appreciate you bringing that up. So I'm going to work with the Attorney's Office for the September voting meeting. We'll have a resolution that kind of spells out the timeline. And at the last meeting, the work session, we heard that, there should be a recapture provision for those who have received money in the past and then those who are going to receive money soon. So there'll be two separate paths for recapture, and that'll be clearly laid out in that resolution.
Okay, and the folks that are on this list, that chamber and whoever else, they understand.
They will understand.
Or will understand
That's right.
that this,
That's right.
this is, okay.
understand the money.
Commissioner Culpepper?
Yes, I'm going to recuse myself from the vote also because of involvement of one of the boards. I do think this is a great plan, and I commend the collaboration between both groups to get something that's agreeable to have for everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Link?
Yeah, I want to thank Commissioners Myers and Taylor and Fisher for pulling this together, and I'm particularly excited about this because, not only are we giving out money, to these groups for immediate results, but these will build foundations. The businesses that will grow out of these will contribute to the community and create jobs, into the future for decades. I want to thank the representative from the Employee Ownership Center. I think that's really important. I think we've had at least one business that has gone through that. I think a construction company has had a retiring owner who's transferred the business to the employees, and I'd love to see more of that. I've seen far too many of my personal favorite businesses disappear because the owners were ready to retire. And the Economic Justice Coalition work with the Commission on Equal Opportunity, the empowerment that's going to create is really important. I think it's up to us to help get the word out about these opportunities beyond just the funding timeline. And the Cooperative Development Center, creating more of these co-op businesses and really building education and a sense of equity among the workforce, so people know that there are other ways to do business and to be employed and to provide for one's family beyond working for the man.
Thanks, Commissioner. All right, I believe we are ready for a vote. And so I'm going to have Clerk Armstrong do a roll call, beginning with Commissioner Myers.
Myers,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Poole.
Yes.
Got 8 yes, and 2 recusals.
All right, thank you all. Motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 25. This is newest audit from the Department of Operational Analysis, and it's the periodic of the Economic Development Department. Entertain a motion for acceptance of this audit.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Wright, second from Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Wright, any remarks?
Well, I just want to throw a compliment to the great use of graphics, details, charts, numbered pages, just the whole package. Just really, really, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, for that. I just extracted that, made my own little PDF of the whole report, making folders for it. You've already got me more organized with my folder in regards to your work. So I'm ready to vote.
The visual appreciation community loves the audit as well as those who like the text. Commissioner Taylor, any follow-up?
As a visual learner, I appreciate it. Ready to vote.
Commissioner Houle?
Love it too. Just want to underscore while we're in the meeting that maybe gets the most attention, that, there's things in here where there's kind of disagreement among the offices, and I do look forward to seeing how reports on that are, following up on how that gets resolved or not in the future. Thanks.
Commissioner Myers?
Yeah, as serving on the audit committee with Commissioner Fisher, I want to just make a quick response on that, that the audit committee has built into the process a review, or not the audit, the Office of Operational Analysis, I think we just okayed it, a process where we'll be coming back to a review of those recommendations. And in fact, I am really pleased that there are those discussions where there is some disagreement, where there's an openness and transparency about issues, and that there's enough that staff and the audit committee, that we sort of nurture a feeling of safety and respect here where we can have those discussions. And I would say this one isn't linked to yet, probably because it's waiting for this approval, but for the public, any of the completed audits are at the website of the Office of Operational Analysis. And they're great learning places if you want to know what one of the departments does as well. Gives a really great overview. So I'm pleased to be supporting this, and all the work that's going on in that office as well has been great, and the visuals as well.
All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Somewhat related, item 26 is the Office of Operational Analysis FY25 Audit Work Plan, so plan of work for the coming year. To entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Link. I have a second from Commissioner Fisher. Commissioner Link, any remarks at all?
Yeah, I mean, in addition to the good work and the subject of the previous vote, this looks great, and I just want to commend the auditor for the efficiency and the speed by which these documents were produced. It looks like we are actually getting some work done in this office, and that's really good to know. Thank you.
Commissioner Fisher?
Ditto. Yeah. Commissioner Lake's comment, yes.
One more comment.
Commissioner Houle and then Davenport.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to outline here that, this agenda item does speak to exactly what we were talking about on page 6 if people are looking, so, yeah.
Commissioner Davenport?
Y'all make it hassle my blush, so.
All right, we appreciate the hard work. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Item 27, somewhat related to our earlier called session. This is landfill Phase 2A and 2B construction loan. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Davenport. I've got a second from Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Davenport, anything else to offer?
No, just the first vote was just creating the body, and this is just us approving the funds.
Commissioner Taylor, any follow-up?
No, sir, ready to vote.
Any other remarks from members of the body? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Item 28 is the Clarke County School District Youth Development Initiative. Entertain a motion at this point.
So move.
I'll second.
All right, I've got a motion from Commissioner Fisher and second from Commissioner Link. Commissioner Fisher, any remarks?
Yes. First of all, I think I appreciate the comments that were made tonight. And youth development and youth sports is very important in our community. I think what we're going to have to do, though, as we move forward, years down the road, most of these programs that's going on in the school system used to rest with leisure services. I think we're going to have to get together with CCSD and the government and to figure out, is it going to stay in the school system or is it going to stay with leisure services, and how do we make that work? I think it's important that we have partnerships in doing this and moving forward. I am a product of youth sports. I paid for my education. I went to school on a football scholarship. So I think that's important. And it does build character, it builds leadership and team building. I think those things are important, and it did a lot for me. But I think as for this community, we need to figure out how we're going to move forward with these programs. And I think, and I told the mayor this last week, I think we need to have a sit down with the Board of Education, our group, and talk through these things and figure out how we're going to move forward and developing the young people in our community. So just food for thought. I just think it's important that we support this moving forward, but then how do we move forward in the future to support the young people in this community?
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Link?
Yeah, I want to thank the interim manager for reaching out to the school district and getting information on the participation in these programs. It was good to see that data and see how many kids are actually being impacted. And I feel like the benefit of a program like this is that it's completely accessible. It's meeting the kids where they're at, which is at school. I would really love to see the kind of programs that we have in our leisure services department, which also our staff provided me with data for that too. And we have such a large and broad array of arts and science and environmental programming through our leisure services department, but it's at our facilities. And there are a whole lot of kids out there that, they don't have the parental guidance to get them there, to apply for the scholarships. I'd really love to have that conversation with our school board about how do we get that kind of programming into the schools, into those ASP programs, so the kids that are not athletically inclined have an opportunity to build their skills in the arts and the sciences, in areas of other interest. I know, I signed up for T-ball as a kid, and I spent most of my time making clover chains. There are kids out there like that, and that's how my art skills probably developed. But yeah, I want to see us assure that we have opportunities for all children in our community, regardless of their physical capacity.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Wright?
Yes, I appreciate the additional information that we've gotten. I was leaning towards this agenda item, just wondering why the school district doesn't pay for it all, because they seem to have more money than we do. But I don't want us to not be involved so that we can continue. I think this is, speaking of sportsmanship, it's helping us have a better relationship with the school district, gives us a bona fide thing to talk about. I do want for the people, the report makers and the note takers, not you on this one, okay. That's the other one. I noticed that the stipends for the staff, there were 7 stipends for $47,000 the first year, and this one's a $51,000 and 15 stipends. And I understand you need to pay people for their time and their commitment and their devotion. I would like to see who the staff is. It'd be great to know if these are CCSD folks, community folks, ACC Gov folks, because this is also kind of a workforce building thing. And hopefully, like one of the examples we heard tonight, growing your own. We're teaching kids and they can grow up and just like, you can be the junior counselor or, just helping those that move up to where you're got your organizational skills. One of the people getting a stipend is a scheduler. So there's a lot of people on the team that makes all this work, and I don't think that we can continue. I think we need to continue to be supportive, but I don't know if financially we're we should be weaning our financial part off with continuing our commitment to work together.
Just from familiarity with the
Yeah.
program, I know that at least some measure of the stipends are for extra duty contracts for existing CCSD staff, but we can find out a little bit more about the array of stipends.
Or also making sure that it's open for others to continue. Yeah, just understanding where that pool comes from. Thank you.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes. As a mom of a lot of children that's in CCSD, I really appreciate the youth initiative. Is a great thing to be able to go out and see the schools compete. Compete. Whether it's in soccer, basketball, or cheerleading. My 5th grader is going to be a cheerleader this year, and so I approve this initiative.
Commissioner Myers?
Yeah, I'm going to vote in support of this as well, but there is some, as we go forward in this collaboration and such, there's still some questions I have. I think one of the things that came out from discussing this is something we are dealing with all of our youth initiatives. It's seeing what the playing field in the arts or anything else is actually. So we were asking, what's going on with leisure services? How does that go with this? I know I had a discussion with, I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but there's another program with Mr. Elder's program. How do these all work together so that we have a more comprehensive idea of how they're working together? And also just simple things. Commissioner Wright was asking about funds and pay, but I'm not is there bus service after these? Is it restricted to certain kids who have a way of getting home? How many kids in our more at-risk neighborhoods are taking advantage of this? What could we do to get more of those kids involved? And so I hope we keep moving in that direction. And while we're at it, perhaps the mayor could explain. I think we're supposed to be voting more on more ARPA things in September, our last things. And so I was just curious where we're going to go between now and September 3rd, I believe it is, and if there's an opportunity for more youth work.
In much the same way that we successfully coalesced around the workforce package, we will similarly be coalescing around a youth and other expenditure package for the remainder of the ARPA dollars ahead of the September vote.
Are we having a special meeting on that?
Well, we had a meeting on the 16th. We kind of laid out some options.
Okay.
And so we're going to have to put together an option for expending those funds.
Thank you.
And if we need some more time, we can carve out some time specific to that purpose. Commissioner Thornton?
I definitely appreciate and do plan on supporting this. I think my colleagues alluded to what a partnership really looks like at the end of the day. And I hope that as we move forward, we can define what a partnership really looks like. One of the speakers addressed our fleet and our paving. Those are very important, especially the paving. I don't think you can compare paving to kids. Those are two different things altogether. Both are important. And I don't think that my support for this proposal takes away from something as important as paving and safety. So, yeah, I do think our partnership has room to grow. Again, I think that we need to be more proactive on the front end. Again, I think we need to make sure we are inclusive in who we're having conversations with. I think that we get into the shell and only people talk to everybody that they're comfortable with. But we are going to have to open up who we have conversations with also. So people don't feel that they got to come here when they think something bad is going to happen. I want to see people come down here and talk about some of the good stuff that we're doing. I know that's irregular, but I think that's what we should aim for. So I support this. Robbie sent me, Dr. Hooker sent me some paperwork, cleared my mind, but I think we got confused again because it wasn't clear. Some of us knew about the original agreement and some of us didn't. So I support it, and I look forward to working with the school district and any other entities and institutions in the government for the betterment of all people.
All right, and so we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Fisher and a second from Commissioner Link. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, we move on to the addition on the agenda, which regards reconsideration of item 34 from the June 5th meeting. And so I'm going to turn to Commissioner Fisher for a motion.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. As we have previously approved this agenda item to be reconsidered earlier this evening as part of the CDO for agenda item 24, I make a motion that we pass this item out with no action.
Second.
I've got a motion from Commissioner Fisher, a second from Commissioner Davenport. Any further input? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, we come now to that time in the evening when we have public input on any item of interest that was not on tonight's agenda. In terms of this public input are the same as before. There's a 3-minute opportunity, and in front of Ms. Armstrong is a light array. It will turn green when you begin speaking, yellow when you have 30 seconds remaining, and red when your 3 minutes has expired. And I'll thank you for being here tonight. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight on any item that was not on our agenda? Good evening. Just make sure you state your name for the record.
Sorry, I'm injured. It's going to take me a second. Good evening. My name is Elle Lewis, and I'm here once again to ask that the proposed Athens Against Apartheid ceasefire resolution be passed with the conscientious objection to our tax dollars being used in what the International Criminal Court has ruled is a genocide. Since April, the U.S. has actually invested $26 billion more of taxpayer funds into this genocide, and Gaza now has the largest percentage of child amputees in history. That was our tax dollars at work. And so at this point, on the cusp of a change of administration, a ceasefire resolution from a city like Athens definitely has the power to influence the stances of an incoming administration. I also want to clarify that while I am here speaking alone today, that is not because your constituents no longer care. In fact, groups from Athens mobilized to join the protest in DC around the White House that numbered in the hundreds of thousands. I am here alone because your constituents have lost faith in you. Those of you who have chosen not to pass or support this action may think that your silence is politically expedient, that you are taking a neutral stance, but that is not how your constituents see it. We have seen Israeli soldiers post videos of themselves dancing on TikTok with the corpses of children. That will not be forgotten at the time of your individual elections. Many of you have bragged about meetings with Ossoff and Warnock, posted photos of yourself with Vice President Harris, and yet when you are asked to use that proximity and that influence to amplify the voices of the people who do not want to be conscripted into our fully funded, once again, documented genocide, you feign powerlessness. A commissioner or a mayor who feels that their position carries no power will be hard put to hold on to that position. We will remember who wanted our tax dollars to fund our neighborhoods. We will remember who was fine with our federal government shipping our money overseas to kill Black and brown children. So we ask you again to consider passing the ceasefire resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Is there anyone else here to speak to any item that was not on tonight's agenda?
Hi.
Good evening.
My name's Karina. So I have a few requests for you to consider. So with leisure services, if you could increase the number of activities during the day for younger children, increase the number of activities for children under 4 in all of the interest areas. Increase activities for homeschool children, as we have a growing number of homeschooling families in Athens. I'd like to thank you for financially supporting organizations doing the early work that impacts the future of Athens. And my other request is kudzu management on 4th and Old Hull. The kudzu grows out so much that you have to actually pull into the road in order to see if a car is coming. And by the time you see a car coming, you're almost hit. If y'all would please take the time to drive down there so you can experience it yourself, y'all would ask them people to cut down the kudzu too. The District 9 development came up, and I am curious about the impact that would have on the never ceasing complaints about sewage and water, if that has any impact on those ongoing issues. And then outside of sports, please take a deep dive into the impact of our school district's literacy rates on our community at large. We love surveys because this is Athens. And I would be interested in having data from employers about how literacy impacts them as employers for people who are under the age of 25, so that you all can get a better idea about how just because you graduate doesn't mean that you know how to read. I think it also allows you to realize that early investments in reading and literacy are crucial to our community. While I agree that sportsmanship through youth development or through a lot of the initiatives that we talk a lot about in partnership with our school district, and they also help, focusing on sports also helps with holding students accountable in the area of academics. It doesn't mean that we are focusing on literacy. And if we want a community of workers, I think focusing on workforce development and sports is how we're going to get workers. But if we want a community of thinkers, doers, world changers, we absolutely need to focus on literacy and reading comprehension. And I think that the county government could do this by some really easy initiatives. Real quick.
Thank you, Ms. Gallagher. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm going to find all of y'all in a minute.
Anyone else here to speak to any item not on tonight's agenda?
My name is Charles Audit. I came down here with a whole list of stuff to say today, right? But since I've been sitting back there thinking, I want y'all guys to know when peoples of the community, even myself, bring issues to y'all, it's nothing personal with that. And I think that's what we look at. A lot of the commissioners look at stuff when we bring stuff to y'all attention that is personal. And it's not personal. I pray for all y'all because I know that the job that y'all are doing is not easy. Y'all got a family just like I do. It ain't easy. And I want the community to know that. It's not easy. I know y'all go through a lot of stuff. It's nothing personal. If I come there and say, hey, Kelly, Mr. Gertz, I need such and such to try to do this. It's nothing personal. That don't mean I hate your guts. That don't mean I dislike none of y'all. It's not like that. And the community don't see it like that. But we got issues in our community that we face every day, and we need help with them. I would suggest that probably, I know a lot of y'all do because I see y'all in the community all the time. Start getting out in the community more. That way we ain't got to try to rush no money out to try to figure out something. Start going through the school district or walking through some of the homeless camp or whatever it is, and just see what the issues is. So when they bring it to y'all, it'll be easy for you to understand the issue. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that we come in and attack. I don't come and attack y'all. I don't dislike y'all. I sit down and have coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee, but I sit down and have a meeting with you. It don't matter. Anything to make this community better. Because everybody that stand at this podium, they stand at this podium because they're trying to make a positive change in the community. Not because they don't like him or her or whoever it is. So I just wanted to say that, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Would anyone else like to speak to any item not on tonight's agenda? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Christian Smith. I live at 101 Riverside Drive. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you all. I'm a new resident of Athens. I just moved here for a professorship at UGA, and I would like to advocate for a revision to the Family Restrictions Ordinance outlined in section 915.18. So this ordinance bars households with more than 2 non-related occupants. And the ordinance should be adjusted so that there is an exception for owner-occupied homes. As has been mentioned many times this evening, housing in Athens is very scarce and becoming very unaffordable. And the current ordinance is unintentionally perpetuating this problem. So I bought a 5-bedroom home last month, intending to live with others, not knowing about this ordinance. And so before I was informed of the ordinance, I posted ads for the extra rooms in my home. And in the few days before I learned of the ordinance, I gave tours to truly droves of people, all of them very excited about living somewhere that was home-like and in a quiet neighborhood and affordable. So first of all, the plethora of inquiries that I received for leases that would have been starting in less than a month should be the first clue that Athenians are struggling to find housing and that the city ought to make changes to address this problem. And moreover, most of the inquirers were responsible adults in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s, seeking a tame environment to call home. This makes sense because if somebody is seeking a house where they can be loud and debaucherous, that person is not likely to tour a house where the owner lives there, nor is the owner likely to want that person in the house anyway. Some of the inquirers were parents drawn to the neighborhood and the good schools nearby. And of the inquirers I met, I imagine that few of them were in a position to buy a home themselves, but most of them were neighborly individuals and families who deserve to live in a quiet, family-friendly neighborhood, whether or not they have the means to buy their own home. So in the end, due to the ordinance, I had to deny housing to more of these people than I would have needed to otherwise. And this is deleterious for me, it's deleterious for those individuals, and very deleterious for the community. Our community does not benefit from me having empty homes, empty rooms in the house that I live in. And so I hope that commissioners will continue to be in conversation about this problem. And I thank you for your service and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak to any item not on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll go to input from the body. Just want to welcome everybody to a new academic year. The school district started Thursday. By all appearances, things have gotten off to a good start, so congratulations to all the young folks who started back to school. As you can tell by the wave of moving vehicles on the horizon in just about every direction, the university starts back on the 14th. So welcome to those folks, or welcome back to them, and welcome to everybody at those institutions and our other public and private schools to their work. And glad to have you here, a big part of our community. To the issue of youth support, the new class of the Mayor's Youth Council will be beginning this autumn, and so we're taking applications through the 18th. You can go to accgov.com and apply for that program. The young folks who've been part of that have had a really good experience, including trips to Atlanta to engage with lots of peers from around the state. So I invite all of them to come join us. I want to turn to Acting Manager Jones. Anything from staff this evening?
No, sir.
Auditor Hassemer?
Real quick, Mayor.
With the approval tonight of the FY25 work plan, we are wrapping up the FY24 work plan assignments, which concludes with the HR audit. And the work has been done, the report has been written, and subsequently the audit committee has recommended it to go forward to the full mayor and commission. We are slightly delaying it a cycle so that we can have the opportunity in September to provide a brief summary presentation at your September work session, given the comprehensive nature of it, and that it is a decent amount of work that has gone into it, more so than some of the periodic audits that you have seen. We want you to have extra time to look at it, so anticipate seeing a draft of that report in the next week or so. And again, you'll likely see that on your September-October cycle and the September work session. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Auditor Hassemer. Anything, Attorney Drake? All right. We'll go ahead and have commission input for a couple of minutes apiece. Begin with Commissioner Davenport, and we'll have Commissioner Hamby close us out and adjourn us.
August 19th, GOC will be meeting 1 o'clock, City Hall. Welcome, I forgot her name already, the new attorney in attorney's office. Welcome. I do want to thank Blaine Williams for all the work he's done. Welcome back, commissioners, from our little break. For those in the community boards, authorities, please go to the ACC Gov to apply for those. Everyone, please check your voter registration. And that's it.
I want to thank the gentleman for coming up and speaking about the single-family housing ordinance. I am in favor of an exemption for owner-occupied homes. In fact, I stood at this podium 20 years ago asking for that exemption. You know, the ordinance has been helpful in many of our single-family neighborhoods in, you know, keeping them from being completely run over with student housing like we have seen in our RM1 neighborhoods like East Athens and Hancock. But it definitely has a negative impact on our affordable housing capacity. And for just regular, you know, working homeowners, young people starting out owning their first home who might not be married and starting a family. And I believe that in our future land use planning process, there's a great opportunity to open that back up and reconsider that. And we do have a committee working on that. So I urge you to go to our website and look at our upcoming meetings and attend some of those meetings and reach out to those folks on that committee. And there will be further public input on their recommendations. And hopefully we can see to this pretty quickly.
Yes. Thank you, staff, for all of your hard work. We couldn't do it without you. I would like to thank myself and my nonprofit for our 3rd annual uniform drive. We raised $2,000, over $2,000, and we spent every penny in uniforms. So I am proud to say that we served over 150 families, and we gave out over 2,000 pieces. I would also like to thank our community partners that came out and did haircuts and hair braiding, for leisure services, for opening up the Aaron Hurt Community Center. All of the nonprofits that are in the capacity building program, a lot of them came and did tabling. And so thank you for that. I would also like to repeat what Commissioner Davenport said. October 5th is the last date to register for this election. If you are 18 right now, and that goes out to our schools, let's get our 18-year-olds registered to vote. I also have something else to say. Based on agenda item 3, we approved today for the FY24 Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Use Site-Based Program. I would like to ask staff if once we have a significant incident report, like when someone dies, God rest their soul, could we also get like that same notification for overdoses? And I only ask that because I've had a lot of overdoses in my district within the last 90 days. It's been a lot going on in my life. But I think that that's really important for us to know how many residents we've lost to opioid overdoses as well as any other overdoses, because we do want to make sure that what we vote on is substantial enough to cover all of Athens and all of our residents know what we're doing and can get the help that they need. That's all that I have.
Thank you. Mine's a little more lighthearted. I'm glad you covered the heavy stuff because it is really important, and things we can do in the community, fentanyl testing strips as well as Narcan being available. Campus does a good job at that, but I welcome the partnership with anything we can do with our downtown and our areas when we know where some of this activities happen, if there's things that we can do to help. Well, what I want to talk about is one of our hardest working boards, Keep Athens-Clarke County Beautiful. Their big fundraiser of the year is August 24th. It's called Keeping It Clean with Dirty Dance Party. And so that's going to be Saturday, August 24th from 5 to 9 at Little King Shuffle Club. And so there's raffles right now. If you want to go to accgov.com, Dirty Dance Party. There are a lot of things donated and a lot of things you can put, get some raffle tickets for, and this all helps with beautification on the loop, the daffodils, the crepe myrtles that we're getting in there. I just saw an area that's also going to have some wildflowers at GDOT. I think we're helping with GDOT to learn how good beautification goes, and also green schools. And there's a lot of initiatives that this hardworking board that is also within our solid waste department is doing year-round. And so come out and support them, or go online, get the raffle. You don't have to be present to win the raffle, but it sure is fun when the raffle winner is there. It's a big celebration. But come support and learn more and learn about others in the community who support this great project and great group.
A couple of things. On this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Ebenezer Baptist Church West, there will be a program on saving our youth. It's sponsored by the Links Incorporated. Our ACCPD will be involved. So if the commissioners, some of you all not doing anything this Thursday at 6 p.m. at Ebenezer Baptist Church West, please come out and support that initiative. Also, one thing I had mentioned earlier, we give out money to a lot of nonprofits, and I think to Mr. Hardy's comments, we need to go out and see what they're doing. Again, this summer I visited all the sites of the Boys and Girls Club, what they was doing, and I had the opportunity to spend time with my colleague and also my other colleague, Commissioner Thornton and Commissioner Taylor, at her event on last Sunday. And for me to see all those families receiving what we gave them or what she gave them, that's important. And sometimes I think our community don't see those type of things that are going on. I think I want to challenge our commissioners to do some of that, to take part in some of those activities and see what some of our nonprofits are doing. And the last thing I want to say, Mayor, is the Felicia Fortson, who's the chief investigator for the DA's office. She's retiring, and they're going to have something for her this Friday at Terrapin on Newton Bridge Road. So if you get a chance, go by and say hello to her and wish her well in her retirement. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Start by giving some kudos and thanks to Nikki Jones, Sarah George, and Andrew Saunders. Kudos, thanks, and also congratulations and apologies to Andrew Saunders. There's a few surveys that folks who are listening, tuning in may want to take note of. One is the Leisure Services Master Plan. I know a lot of folks who live on the west side really want to see a west side park. That's a very important place to try to get a west side park solidified in the master plan so we can get some funding and some planning timelines. GDOT's also got a survey for the Fowler Mill Bridge replacement. So you can go to accgov.com/activateathens for the Leisure Services Plan and accgov.com/surveys for all these. We also have 9 different boards, authorities, and commissions that need 19 people. So if you're interested in elevating your service and commitment and the impact of your voice in this community, we really need folks on the ADDA, Athens in Motion, DBHDD, DFACS, Hearings Board, HRC, Planning Commission, Peace Cobb, and the Vision Committee. And if you're wondering what all that alphabet soup means, you can go to accgov.com/boards and learn more about all of them. They're pretty cool. I always appreciate the folks who stick around through our meetings to speak to us at the end. I will, I guess, be a broken record for a few more months, or maybe be pleasantly surprised if we can get a ceasefire resolution on our agenda. I think it continues to be a meaningful thing for us to do that is more than just a gesture. And I ask more colleagues to join me so that the mayor may place it on our agenda. I also will reiterate from last month my 3 requests of the mayor. The mayor has told me that if he hears interest from a majority of us commissioners, then he would be willing to assign any of the following 3 things. So that means that this is an opportunity for it to not be just me. You know, if other people here want to say something now or later or in an email, maybe we could get these things assigned. The first is examining the single-family regulations in our code to consider exempting homestead properties and or increasing the number of unrelated people allowed. I'll just go ahead and repeat myself and say that I do think this is the lowest hanging fruit for affordable housing in our community. We don't have to build it. We just have to allow people who live here to live legally in places that already exist. So we really want to make a difference in affordable housing. That's a great way to do so. And if we can allow people to do Airbnbs and short-term rentals in these situations, then surely we can allow the same people to do long-term rentals. The second is examining our zoning code to consider removing gas stations as a by right allowance. There is ample evidence of the deleterious effects on public health and the environment that gas stations can have. Certainly whenever folks have the opportunity to speak to us about one being proposed, they seem to line up in long lines at the podium. But plenty of them get built by right without people having that opportunity. And there's a couple that are likely to go up in District 6, much to my chagrin, that are going to be built by right. I would love to see us stop that. I think we've got enough gas stations, and certainly we could maybe allow a special use permitting process or something like that for anyone who thinks that we need another one somewhere in our smallest county in the state. And finally, we had a couple of halfway houses on our agenda last time around, and we've seen the state get ahead of the curve that we're on in terms of making it easier for halfway houses to exist. That is the legal term, even though it's kind of an unfortunately outdated term. But folks living in recovery in our community already have a hard enough time. I think we could make it a little less hard for them by making it easier for their housing to be built. And so I would ask that we would examine our code with regard to halfway houses to allow for them to be built in more types of zoning. Thanks.
Yes, I want to reiterate what I said earlier about the workforce development program. I'm glad to see the collaboration and look forward to seeing what the positive results it will have in our community moving forward by equipping the workers and giving them the training they need to earn higher wages. Also want to say an early welcome to the new UGA freshmen who will be coming back into town over the next week, and welcome back to the other UGA students. And we look forward to, or I challenge y'all to get involved and make a positive impact on our community.
I just have a few quick remarks here. First, I want to thank all of you who stay and talk. I actually really like hearing what people are saying in the community. The points you made about literacy and are right on, and it's a real problem when we have so many students graduating from high school who still have literacy problems. And I also am supportive of broadening that or re-examining the single-family ordinance. You know, while we're at it, I think the removal of the gas stations by right is actually, there are people in my neighborhood who are going to be up in arms when we have a 4th gas station with the addition of the Kroger's, and right in the smallest area there'll be 4. And also looking at the halfway houses, we often, when we do look at them, we have people coming up and speaking to us in some of the most moving ways. And as Commissioner Taylor brought up in terms of the drug issues that are going on in the community. That is something we need to be open about. The only other thing I have here is that on the back positions, the boards and authorities, which have been mentioned already, I do want to mention that we just had assigned someone or appointed someone to the Planning Commission who lives on the east side, but who has had a major life change and will be leaving, which means that we will not have that person from the east side. So I will encourage people to apply for that. That's only a one-year position, so it's a good tryout, right? You could do it for a year and find out if you want to reapply. And while Commissioner Houle was mentioning the public comment, there is open comment through August 16th for the Lexington Road corridor improvements that are part of a continued series of improvements on that Lexington corridor on the east side.
Okay, it's my turn. And Mike has already told me to make it short. He was going to give me $50 if I didn't say anything. But y'all know that was a lie, right? So, get comfortable, Mike. First of all, I want to commend Commissioner Taylor's event last Sunday. It was so well organized, it was well organized for those many people that came. And one of the things that I thought about, and Dexter actually represented the commission. I got some great swag from PIO, and I gave all of your phone numbers out on the directory list and some other information. But I thought about it, we should be going to events on a regular basis and having a table up for commissioners. I mean, we don't need all 10 of us to go. We could take 2 at a time, but when people are having events and they're tabling, what better way than the commission? Now, I know we hit a table when we're running for election. We got our table then, but we could probably do this throughout the year, and that would help educate other folk. At Commissioner Taylor, I met so many wonderful, it was like a reunion for me also, but I met a young lady named Carissa. So I hope she's listening, because I told her I was going to give her a shout out because she watches our commission meetings. On August the 29th, Dr. Maddox will be hosting the quarterly meeting of North Athens and West Broad quarterly meeting at the library at 5 o'clock. And I think that Commissioner Link and I will be along with Athens-Clarke County staff, Tim Griffith and Bruce Lonnie. And I think it's good, again, to educate, and she's doing a great job educating the everyday person on how government is supposed to be working. We'll be talking about traffic calming, the Athens Land Use Plan, Athens Land Trust, home repair and energy, and other things. And so it's going to be on the 29th at the library, starting at 5 o'clock. I think I would love to have more conversation about the single-family housing zoning rules. I do see some prospect in that, and I don't know who would initiate that conversation, or get it started, but I would be very, very interested. I want to thank Nikki and his staff, because I don't know who is helping you. Because he's just giving me my stuff back so fast. I'm like, ooh. He's just answering my questions, and I feel kind of guilty because I know he got other important things. But one of the speakers there that spoke about the sewer and pavements on North Avenue in that area, Nikki's on it. And he's going to get back with me because he said so. But I do think that North Athens, District 9, is going to be the best district in the county as we move further. And lastly, Mayor, Dexter and I were talking about how we recognize folk in the community. Last year, I think we recognized 5. We would like to do it again next month. So if there's somebody in the, we already have our 2 people we're going to think about. But if y'all have somebody that's doing great things, let's try to recognize them briefly at our September meeting, if that's okay with you, Mayor. And I can get $10, good enough, wasn't that long?
It was all or nothing, I understand.
All or nothing, okay.
Exactly. So I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna follow Commissioner Taylor's lead and thank myself for making a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.